Are Airbnbs allowed in Pittsburgh and Chatham County?
You're allowed to have an Airbnb.
Are you sure?
Well, it does depend.
What if I don't want one? Can I make it illegal?
You could restrict the properties, or everybody in your neighborhood could agree to. So,
Do some HOAs have rental
oh yeah,
restrictions?
yeah. HOAs, and you know, we have to realize some of these HOAs and covenants were written 20, 40 years ago. We didn't have Airbnb 20, 40 years ago, but now it's a common thing. And I have a lot of clients. I mean, I have clients that are renting their places out for $100, $150, $200 a night. Well, we have one client, or actually someone who works here, she rents her place out for like $400 a night. And
is it a tree house?
it's not a tree house, but she has a large, nice home that is close to Farrington. And so an entire family, so when they have a wedding in Farrington, rather than, getting different hotel rooms and hopefully be next to each other or whatever, a whole family can rent her house for the wedding, and it's very, very convenient. So anyways, Airbnbs are becoming more and more common, and we didn't have anything in the county ordinance mentioning Airbnbs, and certainly a lot of the times these HOAs and covenants don't have anything mentioning them, but they're going to be part of the mix now, and it's a very volatile situation. A lot of people don't like them. I have to admit that, if my neighbor decided to have a bunch of Airbnbs, I might not like that either, because we're all of the same mind, and you don't know what kind of noise level the person's going to have if they're just renting it for a night or whatever. So the skinny nitty gritty is, if it's an unrestricted property, they probably can do an Airbnb. If you live in a neighborhood that doesn't have any covenants, you all need to get together and put something down and agree to something that prohibits them, if that's what y'all want to do. The second thing where it gets a little bit cutesy, and I'm not an attorney, but we get like situations with legal standing, is if a bunch of us have property in the middle of the country, and Joe has 5 acres, and Joe is going to sell the 5 acres, and he puts a deed restriction on there that says you can buy this 5 acres but no Airbnb. If all the properties around them are allowed to have Airbnbs, and you just put it on there, and then the guy who buys it does an Airbnb, well, if you're allowed to do it and they're not allowed to do it, like, it's kind of hard. You have to have standing. Like, covenants are like a quasi government, like on top of the government, and in order to settle any kind of disputes, you have to do that civilly in the civil courts. And how are you going to say, well, they're doing an Airbnb and I'm allowed to do an Airbnb, but my property is worth less because they're doing an Airbnb? I'm not saying how that court case will actually come out, because I'm not an attorney, but if you don't have standing, it's a weakness. So if you don't want an Airbnb in your neighborhood and you live in an unrestricted area, you got to go knocking on doors and have everybody sign and agree to no Airbnbs.